The pickup truck market has essentially crashed, and we're going to talk about why it's actually crashed, because most people get this story wrong. The truck we're demoing for this video is a Ram RHO that's for sale with the Sky Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Provo. If you're interested in this beautiful green beast, reach out to them. Link to their website in the description down below. So if you look at the stats, mid-size pickup trucks are slightly up in volume, about 2% year over year. But if you look at full-size pickup trucks, it's down. I mean, Ford is down by over 11%. General Motors has slipped by about 2%. But funny enough, Ram that we're filming today, 14% increase. And we'll talk about why Ram's up, whereas Ford and General Motors are down, and Ford's down the most. And by the way, this shows you how big Ford is in the truck market, because Ford is down and they sell so many trucks that them being down pulls down the entire truck market. Now, the first claim that I've seen in many YouTube videos is that these modern pickup trucks, especially the engines, are not reliable. Here's the truth. A lot of these modern engines are just as reliable as the older counterparts if they're maintained properly. And I have been seeing this with my high mileage series. When I look at Carfaxes, I'm seeing people take in their trucks for oil changes every 10 to 15, 20,000 miles. You can't do that with modern trucks, especially if they're turbocharged. You've got to give these trucks fresh oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. If you do that, the powertrain will be fine. So reliability is not a problem for those that actually maintain their vehicles. Now, as always, if you want more straight to the point videos like this, make sure you subscribe. The next claim that I've heard is that modern pickup trucks are too big and the beds are too small. On the too big topic, first off, mid-size pickup trucks still exist, and so you have a smaller option. And also mid-size pickup trucks, again, they're about 2% up year over year. Makes sense. On the bed topic, I think these people just aren't very educated on modern pickup trucks. This one has a 5'7" bed. That truck right there has a 6'4" bed. You can also get modern pickup trucks with 8-foot beds, so big beds are still a thing. But then the next big complaint I hear is that the cab is way too big, especially in conjunction to the bed. But yeah, the cab's too big. I mean, you don't need all this space, and here's the deal. That might be true for some folks. We'll talk about how it's not true for other folks. You can still get smaller cabs. Ram still offers a quad cab. I mean, you guys see I review single cab Fords every single year, especially with superchargers, because they're really cool. Single cab trucks with 8-foot beds. They still exist. So this isn't the only truck on the planet, but the reason why this truck exists in such high numbers is because this is actually what most people want. I sold trucks for several years, and this is what I saw. Everyone said, I want a 5'7" bed because this is about the right size in terms of overall truck length, and the bed space is more than enough. If I need more space, I'll just use that thing on the back, the receiver hitch, and tow a trailer and create more space. And then when it comes to the cabs, most people buying pickup trucks have families with kids in car seats. And this setup can fit a huge car seat, rear facing, no problem. You can't do that in a single cab because no back seat. And a quad cab, you can't do that because it's just not big enough. And so that's why this is so popular, because this can be used as a truck and a family car. Now, the next complaint here is the tech. And I do feel you guys on this one, because I complain about it a lot. Like this truck, this is why I use this one as an example. Passenger screen. I mean, this one has massage seats, super fancy sound system, camera rear view mirror, huge infotainment system, and even a digital cluster. But here's the deal. A lot of this stuff is not standard equipment. Like with Ram, for example, this digital cluster isn't on the lower end models. And the passenger screen is an option. Same thing with the camera rear view mirror. But Ram is kind of making, and just like Ford and Chevy, the bigger infotainment system kind of just standard across the board to cut on costs. Here's the deal. With my high mileage series, this is what I've seen. These things, they don't have issues. Same thing here. Even here. And so here's the deal. If a manufacturer does the system right the first time, which General Motors definitely did not with theirs, and there's some glitches with this. Ford happens to have the best system so far from what I've seen. But anyways, if the manufacturer does it right, the digital stuff is reliable, and as long as it's reliable, people are okay with this. Now, people still want physical controls for stuff like the climate and everything, so this having the heated ventilated seats in the screen, a little bit of a downside for some people. But what I will say is long term, most people kind of get used to it. And again, it's one of those things where as long as the system works all the time, no glitches, no failures, they'll accept it. And so this leads us to the real reason as to why pickup trucks aren't selling. Yes, it is truly the case that this problem is a singular issue. It usually isn't the case, right? There's more nuance in that, but it just comes down to the price. This truck, for example, stickers for about $89,000. And you know what shows that the price is really the only problem with the pickup truck market? Because Ram, and again, that's why we're using this truck in today's video, is up in sales volume with pickup trucks by a pretty large margin. And although Ram sticker prices are just as high as the next guy, their discounted prices with the rebates right now are crazy. I mean, they've got like 15+% off just from rebates with some of their trucks. And after you add in dealer discount, over 20% off of MSRP. I did this video the other week, but I looked at a Ram Tungsten that stickered for over 90 grand, and the selling price after the discounts and everything was like 70K. And so that puts the truck in a completely different pricing category. Ford and General Motors are not even close to that when it comes to the discounts. And again, Rams are selling at a much quicker rate. And so it really does show you that the pickup truck market is being held back not by the engine or the truck bed size or the tech or anything, just the pricing. So we'll take this RHO for a quick spin because we can, and we'll sum things up with my advice for you guys and obviously for the truck makers. So let's first start off with my advice for you guys. My opinion on these modern vehicles has been, evolving as it should, right? I don't think that you should ever have just a singular, unchanging opinion on something, because then, like, it seems lazy to me. It's like you got to be open to new ideas. So as I've been reviewing high mileage vehicles, I've been seeing a consistent trend that modern vehicles are not as unreliable as everyone claims. What instead has happened is that we've had this huge transition away from naturally aspirated, low horsepower engines in the early 2000s to high horsepower, naturally aspirated engines, and then now high horsepower turbo engines. And as we've transitioned, we've needed more and more maintenance for the vehicles, because if you go from a low horsepower NA V8 to a high horsepower NA V8, the high horsepower NA V8 is going to burn through oil quicker, right? It's under more stress compared to the low horsepower. Like, I mean, think about this. Like, if you have a V8 putting out 200 something horsepower, right? Not horrible, but I mean, that's, again, a lot of early 2000s V8s were in that category. The engine's just not under a lot of stress, and it's not going to be that hot. Now take that same V8 and make it pump out 400 horsepower. It's under more stress. Now get rid of 2 cylinders, add 1 or 2 turbochargers, and even more stress. And so with this transition, people haven't changed their maintenancing patterns, because the early 2000s, I think, got a lot of people comfortable with, oh, well, I forgot to change my oil 20,000 miles ago, but it's okay, right? I had an early 2000s Suzuki. Nobody told me how to maintain I never got taught how to maintain a car. I didn't change the oil in that car once in 1.5 years of ownership. Not a single time. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't even know the last time that car ever got its oil changed. I don't even know if the previous owner changed the oil ever. So, but it ran just fine. You can't do that with modern vehicles. It doesn't work anymore. You cannot get away with that with these modern vehicles. You have to do 3 to 5K oil change intervals, whether it's turbocharged or naturally aspirated. That's my biggest piece of advice. You can buy a modern vehicle. You can have, in my opinion, a good experience from an ownership perspective with it if you are on top of the maintenancing, if you treat these trucks like they're high performance machines, because that's what modern trucks are. This thing produces 540 horsepower. This is a high performance machine. So I don't think that people should avoid modern vehicles. I feel a lot more comfortable with them, and I'm going to keep my high mileage series going because it's good information for me to have and for all of you to have. But I just think that people need to be doing more maintenance than they are doing. Now, when it comes to the automakers, it's pretty straightforward. You guys are too expensive. And look at this performance. I mean, think about, like, you put this truck next to a truck from 2000, this thing would just destroy it in a drag race and off-road and everything else. Anyways, the prices are too high. You guys got too greedy, and you guys haven't pulled back fast enough. Now, Ram is finally pulling back, but Ram's pulling back in the world of rebates. And the reason why these manufacturers do rebates is, I think from like a, I don't know, stock market perspective, it probably looks good that they're not lowering, because if they lower the MSRP on their trucks by how much they're doing the rebates, then it'd be like, oh, Ram's cutting prices. People are like, oh no, their profitability is gonna go down in the gutter. And this, it's like, right, these people are, these stock market people aren't necessarily the smartest. They don't understand things as much as they ought to. So the point I'm trying to make here is, maybe consider, like, if you can't do this because the stockholders are brain dead idiots, maybe just have a permanent rebate. Just say, oh, this is month to month, right? We'll have 15%, but just do a 15% rebate every single month. You know what I mean? And I know there's, oh, people will just get used to it, this and that, and I get it. You got to have specials here and there and get people in, but the truck prices just, they need to be lower. Like a fully loaded truck needs to be somewhere in the 70s. Again, where those tungstens are at, where they're selling for high 60s, low 70s, depending on the exact spec, that makes all the sense in the world. That's how much this truck should be. And a basic truck, full size, should be somewhere in the 30s. Like if it's a single cab, bare bones truck, that should be like a 2-wheel drive. That should be like a $25,000 to $30,000 truck. Somewhere in that range. If pickup truck makers did that, this whole thing of, oh, the pickup truck market is not what it used to be, and this and that, and there's other reasons why people are going away from full size, right? Because mid-size is an option. People like myself, you know, SUVs, because modern SUVs can tow so much that I don't need to own a pickup truck when I've got an SUV that can tow almost 9,000 pounds. So there is other pressures, but I do think largely most Americans would love to have a full-size pickup truck because of how much utility they provide, even if they aren't going to use it for truck stuff all that often, and the comfort these have with the long wheelbase and the looks. Like there's so much going for them if they were affordable for the average American. But the problem is when the average new pickup truck is $60,000, $70,000 plus dollars, and the average American household pulls in like, I think 70 or 80 something, the math just isn't going to work there. So you've got to have the average pick, like a Bighorn, for example, or like XLT, or, you know, mid-trim from Chevy with the crew cab 5'7" bed, the most common configuration that people are going to buy. Cloth interior with a short bed and a crew cab. That needs to be a $40,000 truck, $35,000 truck, depending on the options. If they have the pricing scheme that way, full-size pickup trucks will go back to being the best-selling vehicles in America. It's not gas prices. It's the other thing I forgot to mention in this video, but it's not gas prices. It's just the purchase price, the monthly payment. If the truck makers can get the purchase price and the monthly payment more reasonable, they'll sell more of them, and I think they can still make profit. Like, it does not cost that much money to build something like this, especially now that they've got all this tech stuff that it's just plug and play with all the vehicles. It is not that expensive. Like, they can build these pickup trucks. They can still make, if they were selling these RHOs fully loaded for 70 grand, they're still making money. So that's all.